and welcome to the Spiritist Society of Melbourne. We are a group of spiritists who study the spiritualist philosophy Spiritism and come every Tuesday night to share our understanding of specific topics under the lens of this philosophy. My name is Thiago Comitre, and I'm a volunteer with this group. Tonight, I'm going to share my understanding to the topic, is death a full stop or a coma? I'm a student of this philosophy, and what I will expose here is my understanding of this topic, as well as my own opinion, which might differ from other members of this group, as well as other students of this philosophy. Why do some people fear death? That's the only certainty that we all have in life. The body, our body is organic, it's organic life, and one day it will just cease because there is a time for each component of this vehicle. You understand why I'm calling this vehicle and further, but this has a time, a lifespan. It happens to every living being. The animals, the plants, everything will die one day. That's the certainty we have in life. But I respect, and we should respect those who fear death. But why they fear? That's what we try to understand. What is death then? The action or fact of dying or being killed, the end of the life of a person or organism, the state of being dead, the permanent ending of vital processes in a cell or tissue, the personification of the power that destroys life, often represented in art and literature as a skeleton or an old man holding a scythe. The destruction or permanent end of something. These are common definitions that we all have in mind, or we all already know, right? God is from the internet. And from the Encyclopedia Britannica, I got that the total death is the total cessation of life processes that eventually occurs in all living organisms. The state of human death has always been obscured by mystery and superstition, and its precise definition remains controversial, differing according to culture and legal systems. I guess that this one is very well explained. What do you understand about death? So my presentation tonight will be based on the Spirit's book, which contains the principles of Spiritism according to the teachings of high order degree spirits from a high order degree, transmitted through many mediums around the world, then received, coordinated, and codified by Allan Kardec. Also, the Gospel according to Spiritism, which contains all the explanations of the moral maxims of Christ in concordance with Spiritism and their applications to the different circumstances of life. Spiritism, this spiritualist philosophy, says that we are individuals with the main objective of progressing spiritually towards perfection, and at the same time being co-creators. So let's explore a little bit this text here. It's saying about individuality. So it says that we are intelligent beings named spirits, which is pretty much our soul. Then we was created simple and ignorant. So we come from the same start point. We all were created simple and ignorant with the objective to reach perfection one day. But how could I achieve perfection with this life, with my current life? That's impossible, isn't it? So for this reason, reincarnation, which is concept very well explained in this philosophy, makes sense, at least for me, because it explains the logic behind. So if you need to achieve perfection, how will you do that? Because we are this intelligent being inhabiting this body, this vehicle, matter, we can have many existences, and that allows us to evolve. So at each existence, each physical life, we have the opportunity to develop ourselves, and then we just add all this experience to our journey in this path toward perfection, and at the same time being co-creators. So just because we are in this world, sharing this life with others and helping others to evolve as well, because everyone is in the same boat, everyone has the same goal. We are collaborating, we are contributing with the whole creation. So with these concepts in mind from this philosophy, we can continue with the main topic. What about after death then, which will give us more ideas about the topic? Do you think we stay in the grave forever? Or do you think there might have something beyond death? This philosophy reveals us that there is actually two lives. One is the spirit life, which is the main one, which is where we come from, where we'll go back. And that is where is our home, actually, as this intelligent being, this spirit, where our soul actually lives. And we have this corporeal life, which is physical life on earth that we are living at the moment, right? So this is just a short time, an experience. So Kardec asks the spirits in the question 149 in the Spirit's book, and I want to give an explanation of that book. That book is the first book of the works of Kardec's work, which compiles all this philosophy, pretty much 5 books. This is the first one, and it's just questions and answers. Questions made by Allan Kardec and questions answered by the spirits of high order degree. So one of those questions was, what does the soul become after death? So what we become, our soul that inhabits this body, what happened with that after death? And the spirits answer, it becomes a spirit again. Example, it returns to the spiritual world, which it had left for a time. So, as I just said before, that this philosophy explains us about those worlds, the spiritual world, which is the entire universe, the infinite universe with all those infinite number of worlds, of planets and astral bodies. And we have life, which is our spirit, ourselves, which is a human being, a intelligent being in this space, in this universe, inhabiting this universe. So when we die, our soul is the same thing with two names. When we are inhabiting this body, we call that soul, but when it releases the body with the death, it becomes a spirit again, but it's the same thing. And this explains where we come from and where we go to. It returns to the spirit world, which it had left for a time. We are going back there to that. And why we are here then? There is a reason for us to have this existence. So Kardec continues the next question. Does the soul preserve its individuality after death? Yes, it never loses it. What would the soul be if it did not preserve its individuality? Going back to what I said before, for us to keep improving, to keep developing ourselves, keep evolving, we need to keep our knowledge and everything that we have acquired during our existences in somewhere in ourselves. You know what I mean? Because then we can continue that development. If we cannot keep that individuality, all that knowledge, memories, everything that we have lived, we assume that we will start again in the next life. So yes, it preserves its individuality. How would the spirit continue this development if not, right? Then Kardec continues, how does the soul preserve its individuality if it no longer has a material body? Because we think that everything is in our mind, our brain, or something here in this body, right? The spirit explains, it still has a fluid proper to it, which it draws from its planet, and in which it retains the appearance of its last incarnation, which calls the pure spirit. So, where do you think your memories and knowledge are stored? In your brain, in your body, in somewhere in your body. So, when you die, all that memory and knowledge should gone as well. But actually, that is part of this pure spirit. That's how the spirit preserves it. It's part of the spirit. And I'll explain this a little bit more further. Doesn't the soul take anything else from this world? Nothing more than its memories and the desire to go to a better world. These memories are full of sweetness or bitterness, depending on how the soul has lived its earthly life. The purer it is, the more it will comprehend the futility of what it has left behind on earth. Memories and desire to go to a better world. The more enlightened the spirit is, the more it will desire to evolve. So if you think that we are happy in this world, and in the scale that the hierarchy of the worlds that we study in this philosophy, we know that Earth is just after the primitive world. is in the beginning. There are worlds happier, much happier, where the spirits live, and we will reach that stage one day. But we always desire the best for us, right? As a spirit, we also desire the best for our spirit, which is ourselves. So we desire to live in more evolved worlds. But it depends on how the soul has lived its earthly life. How are you living your current corporeal life then? This current existence. That will impact on this. So to illustrate a bit more what I'm talking about so far, this is the representation of what is a spirit. It is like a light, a spark. And this is what is the body, is what we say matter. And then we have the perispirit, which is like an envelope for that spirit. So it will have a similar form of that body, which is semi-material. So it's not matter, a dense matter like the body, but it's semi-material. And all the elements and components that form this perispirit was captured from this world, from the planet where that spirit is. In our case, from Earth. So the combination of these three things is what is us, is the human being, the body, the spirit inhabiting that body, which is not something that is inside, it's in everywhere of that body. So, and this spirit inhabits this body, drives this body. That's why I call that as a vehicle, because we acting and thinking, everything that happens that is intelligent is because of this spirit, is because it's us. So Kardec continues and asks the spirits, in what sense would we understand the eternal life? Only the life of the spirits is eternal. The life of the body is transitory and temporary. When the body dies, the soul returns to the eternal life. The spiritual life is the real life, as I've said before. We are just going through a short existence on earth. And the reason for this existence is because we need to evolve. And how we evolve? Testing ourselves. I need to be more patient, right? To reach perfection. Thinking of someone who is pure love, who loves everyone and everything. For example, as Jesus was. As you have examples as Mother Teresa and others. So they have love and they can spread that love with anyone else, right? To be more patient, we'll have some trials, something that will happen to our lives, in our lives. So to go through and to exercise this patience, to exercise and to rid of our pride and selfishness, we will have opportunities to work on this. That's why we have this existence, this physical existence, for our spirit to be developed. And then when we go back to this spirit world, as it says here, the eternal life, we will do a reflection. We will analyze this latest existence and also the previous existence, and we can do a balance and understand which stage we are, because as a spirit we know where we want and need to achieve because of a series of reasons as well. And this philosophy explains well, and I will not extend here, unfortunately. Wouldn't it be more correct to understand eternal life as that of the pure spirits who no longer undergo trials because they have finally attained perfection? That indeed represents eternal happiness, but it is all a matter of words. You may call things whatever you want as long as you understand the words we use. That's the answer the spirits gave. So, eternal happiness. We could have an entire talk for this topic, but I'm not extending here as well. But just keep in mind that the spirit, when reached perfection, it will just enjoy this happiness, this real and eternal happiness. Okay, I was talking about the spirits, ourselves, why we come to this world, what happened after death, and under the lens of this philosophy, under the lens of Spiritism. And what about the universe then? If you come from there, go there. I would like to share, to show a very short video here.
We are inquisitive. We want to understand things. We want to understand more about our place in the galaxy and our place really in the universe.
NASA's always been the leader in space exploration. In fact, NASA's been the first agency to explore each and every one of the major bodies in the solar system.
It used to be that we were completely bound to the surface of the Earth. Now we actually have spacecraft that have orbited Mercury, Venus. We've been around Jupiter and Saturn, all the way to the outer planets, all the way up to Pluto and beyond. Think about that. In 60 years, we went from just standing on the surface underneath our atmosphere, looking up, to actually visiting these places.
You know, human exploration is not Star Trek. It's not go where no human has gone before. Planetary scientists actually go first. They study the body, they study the environment, they look at the risks, they look at the resources, and then human exploration with that knowledge moves out, leaving low Earth orbit, going to the moon, and then on to Mars.
Obviously, we want to take humans to Mars. Obviously, we want somebody walking on that surface. But our current missions are helping us understand more about Mars, are helping us understand how to create oxygen, are helping us understand about the atmosphere and the wind so that we can actually have a living life on Mars.
The areas that we are most interested in, where we're putting most of our resources, are the areas where there is a potential for life. So when you think about Enceladus, which is a moon of Saturn, and you think about Europa, which is a moon of Jupiter, these are water worlds, where we're talking about entire oceans with ice shells. And ultimately, the question is it possible that we could find life on those worlds that are moons of other planets within our own solar system?
Our job is to go look and use the tools that NASA has provided so that we can learn what's out there. How does everything work? The sun, the earth, the planets, the stars, all of these things are space science for us. Galaxies, or clouds of stars, hundreds of billions of stars, are going away from us with a speed proportional to distance. Well, what made that happen? You divide the speed into the distance, you get the age of the universe. So that was the first time we knew the universe had an age.
questions like where do we come from and how do we get here, and the big one, are we alone? As much as we've learned about the cosmos, there's still so much that we don't know. And that's why NASA builds telescopes, to answer those big questions that we haven't been able to answer yet.
We can do more than we've ever done before because of capabilities that exist today. So the next 60 years, I think, is just going to be an exponential growth of our knowledge and understanding, which is really what NASA was created for in 1958.
Thank you, NASA, for making this content public and for all the good work you have been doing for over 60 years now. That helps us to understand what is out there, or at least to have an idea. Because what we have been discovered so far, if we compare that and brings the scale of the infinite, there is nothing, right? Because it's infinite. This universe is infinite. How many stars, how many suns, how many moons, how many planets out there? And we think could have life there. My understanding is that we are just in different dimensions, but like Earth, that world also has life, but that's forbidden for us. We are in different vibration, let's say. So how does the soul preserve its individuality if it no longer has a material body, right? It still has a fluid proper to it. That was the answer of the spirit, which it draws from its planet and which retains the appearance of its last incarnation, which is the perispirit. I understand that it's not just because we cannot see that those planets discovered by NASA so far, for example, do not have life. They are in different dimension, that the frequency of the vibration of our energy cannot reach them, so that become forbidden for us. Of course, I'm assuming here that everything is energy according to the quantum physics, and everything has an energetic vibration. So the perispirit is formed by elements from the planet where the spirits will have an existential experience. It keeps with that memories and knowledge wherever it goes. To be born, to die, to be reborn yet again, and to always progress. That is the natural law. Kardec talks about reincarnation, which is definitely a natural law. How can we achieve perfection in a single existence? We cannot. This image represents the different existence of a spirit. You can see in different epochs. We are not who we think we are then, but in reality, a product of many existences instead. So, what we was in past lives, we don't know, and we don't need to know, because our path is towards perfection. We need to look forward, and we need to progress all the time. So what happens after that then? It's like freedom for the spirit that returns to the spirit world, which had left it for a time. The question 154, Kardec asks again, is the separation of the soul from the body a painful process? And the spirit's answer, no. Frequently, the body suffers more during life than at the moment of death. The soul itself feels nothing at death. The suffering that it sometimes experienced at the moment of death is pleasure for the spirit, for it sees that the end of this exile is at hand. So let's open our minds and try to understand what happens beyond. So we, as a spirit that communicates and do everything through thought, we're suffering just because we are in this material body, limited in all our faculties as a spirit. So, like a battery, everyone has their own level of energy to live the corporeal life. However, for any reason, some anticipate their battery's end, and this will have consequences after death, though. I'm not going that way, but we'll definitely have other talks talking about that. Another question from Kardec. Upon leaving the body, is the soul immediately conscious of itself? Immediately is not the right word. It remains in a state of confusion for some time. So, what is this state of confusion then? The spirit is getting to know what happened to itself after death, until it recognizes that it has crossed the line. It is in the other dimension now. So during this time, it's in this state of confusion. And sometimes the spirits think that they are between us, is alive, and they try to talk, they try to interact with people, and think they think he's invisible for those people because they don't understand what happened to him. That's the state of confusion. But it will depend on how evolved the spirit is. If it has certain knowledge about what could happen after death, about this spirituality, right, in general, it could be better in this moment. But everyone is going through this moment. So does an understanding of Spiritism have any influence on the shorter or longer duration of this confusion? It has a very considerable influence because the spirit understood what its situation would be beforehand. The practice of good and purity of conscience exerts the most influence, however. So, doing good is always the best way of living. Spiritism, in this philosophy, we study what is the spiritual world, where we come from, where we are going, why we are in this existence, why of everything, a lot of answers in this philosophy. This helps us to open our mind for a different universe, to have a different perspective of life, right? So that's why it helps. But doing good, no matter what your beliefs or what you do in general, just do good. That's what is important. That's what I have for tonight. Let's enjoy this short passage on Earth, full of happiness, living one day at a time. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time.